Hi, my name is Nicole Wood, and I'm going to walk you through my infographic about water. A little background, this project is for my Info 362 class, Visual Information Design, and the assignment is to create an infographic and emulate the color, text, and visual language of another infographic. I chose this topic because at the time I recently went to a water tasting and thought it was really interesting. First, I'm going to talk about the forms of visual potential and how I used it in my infographic, and then I'm going to walk you through my emulation process. Visual potential is the ability to display information in a visual way. There are 5 forms of visual potential: appearance, relationships, time, number, and location. To the right are some ways I exploited visual potential, which I'll be going over soon. Appearance is used to convey what something looks like by using colors, shapes, and lines. To exploit the visual potential of appearance for water, I created several graphics. I used colors, shapes, and lines to represent different water brands: food, a gallon jug, a cloud, and a girl drinking water. The water bottles do a good job at showing the different brands of water through the shape of the bottle and the font of the brand, but the graphics with just the cup does not convey what liquid is in the cup and needs to be accompanied with some text to tell the reader that it's water in the cup. The visual potential form relationship shows the association between different objects, ideas, or people. To exploit the visual potential of relationship, I show the relationship between water qualities and which food it pairs well with. To create this relationship, I created 2 scales, one for carbonation and one for mineral content. From this, I put a circle around the area of the scales where the water would fall into, and then used a dashed line to connect the qualities to the water pairing it is referring to. Time displays can communicate when events happened relative to other events. To exploit the visual potential of time, I created a timeline showing how old certain waters are compared to each other. My timeline goes from oldest to youngest, like conventional timelines, and reads left to right. This display shows time as one happening before the other, but unlike most timelines, where the length in between the points represent how much time has passed, my timeline is evenly spaced, even though the distance between the points in time are not equal. For example, 15,000 years to 1,000 years is more than 1,000 years to 300 years. So the length of the line has no information, where in other timelines it does. The visual potential of numbers is to show how much or how many things there are. Number displays often take advantage of size and color to represent how much of something there is. In my numbers display, I exploit the visual potential of numbers by using an isotype bar chart, where one icon represents 1 gallon of water. My number display takes advantage of the amount of icons there are, the size and height of the bars, to show the amount of water bottle consumption has been increasing over the years. Where this chart struggles is that one row represents 3 gallons. So for example, in 2008, the bar reaches the 30 gallon mark, but if you count all the icons, it is only 28 gallons. So that could be kind of confusing to the viewers if they want to know the exact numbers. Location as a form of visual potential shows where things are in relation to others. A location display doesn't necessarily have to be a map. It can be showing where a knife should be placed around a plate, but for my location display, I did utilize a map to show where these water bottle brands are sourced. I used a circle to put a point on the map and a line to associate where what bottle is sourced there. Now I'm going to talk about my emulation process. This infographic I use for my color, type, and visual language model. This infographic was like long and skinny, so I cut it in half so you can better see the elements in the presentation. So to emulate color, I almost used all the colors I had available to me, with exception of this dark blue. This color scheme is a complementary color scheme with these kind of lighter blues and this like orangey kind of peach color. And then I think this color scheme has a very fun and inviting tone to it. So looking at how I emulated my color, so to emulate the color, I used each color for the same purpose as in the model. The blues were mainly used as background colors, and there's one exception where the blue is also used in the graphics. The white is used for text graphics, these brackets up here, and some dotted lines. The black is used for the outlines of the graphics and the text, and some dotted lines. And the peach is used as accent colors in the graphics, these bigger circles, and the footer of the infographic. I tried to use the peach color around the same amount as my model, but ended up using it a little more just because I have more little graphics spread out through my infographic. The text model is a sans serif font that can vary in weight. It is always capitalized and is mainly left aligned. There is an exception in the main title where there is a cursive font that is not capitalized. The section titles in the model are always larger than the annotations in the infographic, and a lot contain a change in weight, size, or color within the title itself. So to emulate my text model, I use the font Acum Variable Concept in weights regular, medium, semi-bold, and bold, and I only use capital letters. My titles are larger than the descriptions, and I often have a word or statement within the title that changes in weight, size, or color to put an emphasis on that information. To emulate the overall title, I also included a cursive word breaking up the two main words. So that's the cursive right there, and then you can see here I'm changing color, and in this example I'm changing weights, and then these are the descriptions, which are in all caps. Now I'm going to talk about the emulation of my visual language. I emulated my model by using various elements. Going from top to bottom, I emulated this wave line at the top, this kind of element right here, brackets with large text, a dotted line, and the description. And then here is like a lighter container box. I've used container box. There's another container box right here. I've used it in these two sections. And then black dotted lines you can see here. I also used this element I emulated in my water pairing right here with the outlined black circles, kind of pointing it to and connecting it with dotted lines. In the timeline, it's dotted lines. Let's see, this black title with white right there. You can see black and white text right there. These white dotted lines are similar to white dotted lines up here, and then rounding down to the footer, which has these waved lines with the peach color. And then to emulate the visual language, the graphics kind of flow into different sections, like this whale right here, and the different sections are separated by different background colors. And then this ISO chart matches that one right there. So then I'm going to further explain my visual language by the style of graphics I used. So the graphics have a black outline and is mainly white and some color on the details, the peach color. In the whale, there are a lot of lines, like wavy lines, which I emulated in the hair of the girl and kind of these cloud elements. And then in the peach background, this is the only element where blue was used as an accent color over the peach. So I emulated that there. And then the isotype chart emulated this kind of square thing by not being, it's just an outlined icon instead of being white, filled with white. So here's my layout model, and to emulate my layout model, I mainly used these blue horizontal, not blue, it's outlined in blue, horizontal sections. I've outlined them there. And then so in the first section, in these orange boxes, you can see how these sections exist in my model. And then the next two sections are just the elements all the way across, and this one's all the way across. And then the fourth section, there's two elements kind of similar to the third row in my model. And in the bottom section, you can kind of break it up into three sections. And this one's in four, but it still matches. And then with the alignment of everything, there's some padding, small padding on the sides, which you can see in this, and there's a little bit more padding on the tops and bottoms, which I gave more padding above the title. And we have this full footer and have some padding there except for the sources, but yeah. So when creating my infographic, I thought about the visual hierarchy of the information. Visual hierarchy is the arrangement and sizing of the elements and implies the importance of the information. The infographic is read top to bottom, left to right. So you start at the top, and then within the sections, you read left to right. The information from top to bottom goes, what is natural water? Why are they different from each other? How old are they? How should I drink it with food? And how much bottled water has people drink in the US? The elements that are most visually drawing are the ones I put in the red squares. So that would be the main title and these kind of big graphic elements. And then these elements are meant to draw the viewer's eyes across the entirety of the infographic, ending in the bottom right corner. So you see the top, you're brought here, then you see all this are brought over here, and then brought back over there. And then the next elements that are the most visually drawing are the titles within each section. These are like the largest text elements over the overall title, and they are important because they describe what each section is about. So that's why they're larger and require more visual hierarchy. And then the other sections I highlighted in yellow, I feel like they have a higher visual hierarchy over these other elements, because in this top one, these bottles are the largest water bottles compared to all of these. These are fairly small compared to these ones. And then in this one, the contrast of the peach circle against the blue background kind of draws you in, because this is the most peach in the infographic other than the footer. And that color kind of brings you into that. And then within the sections, there's also a visual hierarchy. So in this section, for example, the title's at the top. So you see that first. You see this first, and then if you read left to right, Next thing you would see is carbonation levels. That title is larger than the description. This title is larger than that description. And then you see this section. And then even within this descriptions here, you have bolded words, which hold more importance. The words that are bolded hold more importance than the smaller words. And then the sources hold, I would say, the least visual hierarchy. They're at the bottom right corner and the font's fairly small. Yeah. Next, I'm going to talk about unity and variety. Unity is created when color, shape, size, and texture are similar throughout the presentation. This makes it feel like everything fits together and is just not a random jumble. Variety is created when an element does not match the color, shape, size, or texture and has not been really repeated in the presentation. It keeps the viewer interested in looking at the presentation and breaks up the sameness of the display. So in my infographic, there is unity with the colors, graphics, and text throughout the infographic. Specifically, these cloud elements can be found across the infographic, and just the style of them also match. We have these waved lines. The top one connects to the bottom one, kind of makes a whole. There's the same font style throughout the entire infographic. And yeah, the color is used. It brings it all together. Each section uses this peach as the accent color, and it's blue and it's alternating. That creates unity. So the variety in my infographic include this, my numbers display, which the little gallons icon is the only icon that is not filled. It's just a black outline. And then, let's see. And this, I would say the cursive font at the top and bottom, I would argue that it creates both unity and variety. It creates unity in the infographic as a whole. You start with it and you end with it. But it also creates variety because it's the only two words that are different in font, and that creates the variety. What else? Also, yes, the footer at the bottom, it is the same color as the peach here, but instead of being used as like an accent color, it's taking up the whole width of the infographic, which is not seen anywhere else, which creates some variety in the infographic. So yeah, this is the end of my presentation, and I just wanted to tell everyone that I had fun with this project, and thank you for watching.